This video is more about exploring how to transfer the transition process from the original enemy diffusion model into the one model. A lot of work was done on the enemy diffusion model, including transitions in character movements, scene transitions, and stylistic transitions. In terms of the current results, it can be said that the performance is quite good. The test results do not guarantee full compatibility. Then let's look at the workflow for Wan2.1. I'm using the largest comfy run platform running hard. There are 3 input items here. The first one is video, which controls the type of video used. It displays this by using a line in depth. The second input is an image used to generate video, which should be a modified version of the first frame we mentioned earlier. This is a stylized image. The third input is the prompt, which is text. I'll do it directly by working backward. In this case, the input image and input video should be in proportion. I've imposed arbitrary constraints on width and height here, but it's better to ensure the aspect ratio is maintained as much as possible. Load the model for encoding, so the 3 input items should each have their own encoder, textual, visual, and audio. Adjust the intensity here. You can lower it slightly to create some diffused effects. 4 nodes are used for acceleration, gain, rendering, and then decoding, which forms the basic workflow. This place wasn't specially adapted. Instead, more effort was focused on how to capture the first frame of the video. I'm using SD differential along with the IP adapter and CN base process, either with or without repainting. Well, this is just an example, not an exhaustive list of all the rules. Navigate to RunHub and click AI, or click the link in the introduction to register and get 120 points with an additional 100 points each day you log in. The corresponding AI workflow and one-click AI applications are all deployed online in sync, allowing online operation and testing. We see the process. The first node loads an image, takes its first frame, sets the upper limit to 1, performs foreground and background separation, and then redoes the rendering. This is a redrawing process that uses 2 CNs. So these 2 CNs, when it comes to character modeling, we commonly use open pose, and the other one is depth. So there is a valid reason to believe that more mitochondrial control will limit effectiveness, and also a valid reason to believe we need more mitochondrial control to preserve the original details. An IP adapter was used to refer to the example image. Perform this very traditional SD difference combination process, then get results through several draws. Looking at the results we've generated, it is completely following the control image we entered. Why do you say that? Here, with deep control, this pants have a hanging feel, so the corresponding mech part also has a drooping effect, which is obviously unreasonable. We can see that the foreground has completely changed, but it seems the background remains the same. To be honest, during the process of applying this video, we didn't perform any redrawing or masking simply because the first image we input served as the reference. Its background remains unchanged. Don't misunderstand. Then we see the second process. The second process still uses the converted image from our first frame. Here, they made a cut and abandoned the IP adapter, instead introducing a learned model to obtain the result. In conclusion, it definitely requires multiple generations. But here, we can mention an innovative idea. If we use real scenes and blend them with an anime-style 2D foreground, could it create more interesting dynamic visual effects? It hasn't been tried yet. Then we look at the third process, which again involves reduction, abandoning the mask, and pursuing an overall change in the scene. This is actually hoping for changes in the entire image. Seeing the result in terms of the outcome, I think it's completely consistent with the view from the previous video. If the reference image we input matches closely with the first frame of our video, we will achieve more consistent results. This is a very reasonable requirement, which is why we have this episode. The fourth set of videos demonstrates how to extract the first frame and perform precise style transfer using such a node. This method has been mentioned many times before, so I won't go into details again. Its advantage lies in our ability to better capture the stylistic elements from the input reference image while ignoring specific objects. Of course, this part also requires the support of CN. Let's take a look at the results. This process involves combining the linear control and depth control mentioned in the first half of our video. I think this level of control is absolutely fine, including some fluctuations at the edges. So most of the content on this channel focuses on open source models and projects, but it's the closed source models that really showcase RunningHub's strengths. It brought down the prices of many popular models such as Voodoo, Killing, and Wanshang. Some specifications were even lower than the officially announced prices. The more you use it, the more you realize that saving up bit by bit really saves money in the long run.